The process of privatisation has been ongoing in the UK since the 1980s and has involved the sale of state-owned assets and industries to private investors. So let's take a look at some examples of privatisation in the UK economy. Quick reminder that privatisation is the sale of or the transfer of ownership of a public sector or state company to the private sector, normally, not always, but normally through a stock market listing, the issue of shares, and privatisation is the opposite of nationalisation. So many industries in the UK have been privatised in recent decades, and here are some of the most notable examples. Well, here they are. British Telecom was one of a number of companies privatised, as you can see there, in the mid-1980s, along with British Gas and British Airways, which was also state-owned for many, many years. British Steel was also privatised, and 6 years later, British Coal became a private sector business. So all of those 5 businesses with the word British before the name had been nationalised or state-owned before they were privatised in the mid to late 1980s and the early 1990s. The Royal Mail was privatised in 2 stages, 2013 and fully privatised in 2015. British Waterways sold off in 2012. It's now known as the Canal and River Trust. The electricity generating and distribution sector privatised just over 30 years ago. And British Nuclear Fuels was privatised in 1996. Now, some people argue that privatisation leads to greater efficiency, innovation and better customer service. Others, against that process, argue that privatisation can lead to less access to essential services, higher bills, higher fares and reduced quality of service. So the process of privatisation has undoubtedly been controversial, with arguments for and against privatisation. But it's important to have some good examples in your notes of industries that have been privatised.